Wolfpack, what's going on? It's your boy, the Wolf of Roto Street, RotoStreetJournal.com. We breed and feed you fantasy wolves here with your Week 13 fantasy football rankings. That's right, folks. 2 more weeks until your fantasy playoffs. We're in that final quarter, not even quarter, last 2-minute drill of the season, and wins are crucial, whether you want that bye, whether you're just avoiding last place or you're hunting, more importantly, for that playoff spot. You got to get the W. So come on in, Wolfpack. I will bring my rankings on in. We'll go position by position, talking about who I'm higher on, lower on, Hail Marys, all that good stuff. Try to hit on every single player as fastly as I can. But as you come in here, if you don't mind, that thumbs up button does help us get out to more people. It is greatly appreciated. So please consider giving us that thumbs up button, and that would be very appreciated. Alrighty, Wolfpack. And just as a heads up, too, I am on my girlfriend's laptop. Mine is dead, and I have my charger at school. So if this dies in the middle of the broadcast, my apologies. I did not mean to go out of here without finishing the show or answering your questions. I will try to get through them all as long as this lasts, and as long as the questions are there, I will be here. But no guarantees. This thing does drain battery pretty quickly. So we will see how that goes. But thanks again for being here, Wolfpack. Let me now pull in my rankings, and we will get right into it. So right at the top of my list, and a +7, a hefty +7 on ECR is Dak Prescott. I don't get how he's just number 8 on the list this week. He has had over 20 fantasy points in all but I think 2 weeks. Yeah, all but 2 weeks over 20 fantasy points. So the floor is rock solid. Then you get New Orleans, who is bottom 5, 5th most points allowed to QBs. We just saw Josh Allen throw for 4 touchdowns against him. Prescott had 25 last week without CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper. That's insanity. That is a huge boost to this guy. The fact that he can do that without those weapons. And now he gets CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper back in a plus matchup. Yeah, that Thursday night action juice. I love it. To me, he is the not far and away. Brady against Atlanta, and obviously Josh Allen, the way he's cooking, is going to get some consideration too. But Dak Prescott, I can't believe he's only down at 8 in ECR. A lock for me. No doubt about it. Moving on to Brady, though, we got him at Atlanta. He has been a little bit down lately. I think he is now averaging only about 15 fantasy points per game across his last 4. So, yeah, see, 19, 24, 27, 15, 20, 12. So, I guess not that horrible. But in those first few weeks, he was averaging over 25 fantasy points per game. Now we got him down to about 17, 18. Not a huge fall. And now he gets Atlanta, too. And last time he faced Atlanta, he had 30 fantasy points. So, if you wanted to have him at number 1, I'd have no problems with that at all. It's Tom Brady. He's killing it this year. He's an ageless wonder. Great matchup. No doubt about it. Josh Allen, fresh off a 4 TD. Now, New England is limiting the signal callers to the second fewest points. Matchup isn't great, but it does have that kind of shootout style fight for the division feel, which could increase the scoring. It might make it a defensive battle, too. Still, I can't have him anywhere outside my top 3. He's just too damn good. Kyler Murray in his return, though, easily inserted right back into my top 5 fantasy QBs. They really took it slow with him, let him get fully healthy. And I mean, as you can see here, 35, 20, 20 or more in all but 2 games. And the down games really came when he wasn't healthy. So I have no issues at all getting him right back into my lineups. Bears, top 15 matchup, top half the league in points allowed to QBs. Nothing, no problem with that. Lamar Jackson, he's the number 1 in ECR. I'm a little bit lower on the guy, though. The floor just is not all that high. Look at that, 13, 16, 14. So in 3 of his last 5 games, he's been outside I guess 16 was good for QB 10, but still, that's pretty hideous. Like below 20 fantasy points in 60% of his last games. Just hasn't looked all that right since getting hurt. So I'm a little nervous here. The rushing upside is still astronomical. 17 carries last week, insane. But against Pittsburgh, yeah, they're just abysmal on defense these last few weeks, and it's not looking like they're going to be any healthier this week. But I have my questions. I have my doubts. Jalen Hurts off a awful week. What's the recipe for success? Getting the Jets. Now you look at this, and over 20 fantasy points in all but 3 games. Top 10 fantasy QB in all but 3 games. I mean, just an absolute stud all year on that front. Top 12 in all but 2 games. So very consistent. I'm not going to hold that 1 down week against him. He's going to go kill it against the Jets. They're more susceptible to run than the pass. That actually plays into his favor, given how good of a runner he is. He'll probably have 100 on the ground, maybe a two score day on the ground too. Anything in the air is bonus at that point. love Jalen Hurts. Stafford, yeah, he's banged up with injuries that you think he was like in the geriatric home right now with a back and an arm and a shoulder and an elbow. Everything's banged up for him, but he's still getting it done. He had 23 fantasy points, was the QB4 last week against Jacksonville. I mean, what's to not love? This offense should steamroll Jacksonville, and especially if Daryl Henderson isn't in there, maybe they rely on his arm just a little bit more. So nice matchup. I guess Jacksonville, again, they're sneaky pretty good in fantasy points allowed to QBs, but I think it's just because they suck so bad that they're giving up a lot of points to other positions. So interesting there. Still love the guy. Top 8 play. A little bit lower, as you can see, on Pat Mahomes. And I guess you can – it won Denver, a bottom 3 matchup for QBs. Look at his numbers. 9, 15, 10, 36, 9. Fantasy points. QB 22, 17, 22, 1, and 26. Outside your top 17 QBs in 80% of his last 5 games. That's scary. That is not a high floor, and he's not entering a great matchup this week. Off the bye, I mean, maybe we do get that number 1 QB effort, but I have no problem being 3 spots below the ECR on him. Kirk Cousins, he's been slinging against Detroit. What's more to say? One of the worst graded secondaries by PFF. Easily a good matchup for him. Justin Herbert, up and down. One of the most up and down QBs. In fact, he has more games below 15 fantasy points than he does above them. Above 20, rather. So, yeah, as you can see, 35, 22, coming off 2 pretty good games. Cincy, though, is 26 in terms of points allowed to the QB. Not the best of matchups. I could see this being one of the more down weeks, as you can see, -4 ECR on him. I just like some of the other guys around him. And Joe Burrow rounding out as you can see in my tiers, the gods, the QB ones. Burrow rounds out my QB ones. The Chargers are a good pass D, but Burrow's better in these types of matchups, in my opinion. So no problem having him in my top 12 guys. Then you get to tier 3, your high-end QB2s. And this week with 4 teams on bye, including Aaron Rodgers and some other big-name QBs, you got no problem going to a guy like Taysom Hill, who has been announced today as the starter. I think he could be a top 7 play this week against Dallas tomorrow night. Remember, he was the QB6 across his 4 starts last year, averaged over 21 fantasy points per game, averaged 10 carries across his 4 starts, and that's where the upside really comes, the Konami upside there, rushing ability. I think he averaged, 50 yards in a TD on the ground? Insane. So any passing juice is just bonus there. Gets Dallas, who, yeah, they've been better on defense this year. They get DeMarcus Lawrence back. That's certainly not a good thing for his value. But I think Taysom Hill can get it done, especially if he gets Kamara back and that offense is at full speed tomorrow. We'll see. But definitely a viable top 12 play. He's still out there in 80% of leagues. You need a QB, you need a fill-in. There's no one better, in my opinion, on this week's waiver wire. The definite Hail Mary I will be tossing out. Derek Carr, not far behind, though, getting a Washington team, giving up the most points to signal callers. They've been a little bit better these past few weeks. So I know that stat can sometimes be a little misleading. Teams like Miami as well, really, really just tightening up these last few weeks, even though they're like top 5 in points allowed to QBs. If you saw that over the last 4 weeks, it's a big difference. So I like Carr, like the matchup. I think you can get deep on them with regularity, but I'd rather have the rushing upside of Taysom Hill. Carson Wentz then rounding out my top 14, kind of the last starter I really like here. Facing a soft Houston defense. They're giving up a ton of points to everything. Quarterback is no exception. So I really like him as well. And then you move into your remaining QB2s, the remaining guys I would start. I'm not excited to start. Tua being at the top of that list. The Giants, I might bump Tua into that tier 3. I mean, the guy just heard the stat the other day. 76% completion percentage since he came back. That leads the NFL right now. He is throwing dimes and darts all over the field, looking solid indeed. So maybe I need to reconsider that. The Giants are pretty generous, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look here. 20th, so a little bit below average matchup, but Tua, he's been getting it done against better teams. I think he belongs in the tier above there, so that might be a new ranking after the show. Taylor Heineke, pretty dud week against Seattle, if I'm not mistaken. I fell asleep, honestly. 12 points, yeah, pretty bad. He's just pretty bad. I mean, that just goes to show you how bad Russell Wilson's been. Look at these numbers for Russell Wilson, how the mighty have fallen. 8. Oh, he had 19 the other night. Again, I fell asleep, so maybe I missed something towards the end of the game, but 10, 8, 19. Really bad. I mean, the 19, I guess, was fair, but I'm still very skeptical. It was an ugly 19 because in the first half, it was looking like he was in for yet another dud. Tyrod Taylor always has a little bit of rushing upside. Has been getting it done pretty decently this year. Not like a guy I'm loving to play, but Indy is the ultimate pass funnel. Very good run D, very bad pass D. They've given up the most passing touchdowns in the league. Could see Tyrod having a 2 to 3 passing touchdown day. Garoppolo, if Russell does his thing, has more upside, but this low rankings it is, I don't think he's going to do his thing. Matt Ryan will have to throw against Tampa Bay. How did he do against those guys earlier this year? Week 2, 19 fantasy points. You'd be pretty pumped if you got that out of Matt Ryan this week. I'm not expecting that. No Calvin Ridley, but out there in a ton of leagues, he's on the list of streamers, but as you can see, definitely some guys I'd have above him. And then you round out the list with Mac Jones, real life wise, he might even rank in the top 12 real life wise, but fantasy wise, he hasn't been all that useful, 12, 7, 20, 11, 22. So, 20 and 22, 2 of his last 3 have been top 7. And maybe I am underestimating Mac Jones even in fantasy. I keep thinking he's just a real life guy, but those numbers suggest he is better fantasy wise. Buffalo, the hardest matchup for QBs, but I kind of throw that out the window with the Belichick coach team. They'll know where to exploit him, and they've lost Tre'Davious White. So I am going to bump Mac Jones probably ahead of Taylor Heineke here once I do my rerun of this. This is, again, my first draft, and kind of when I talk out loud with you guys, it gives me a chance to reevaluate. And then you're just in the shit here. You don't really – ideally, you can find, Bridgewater in a shootout. Heineke's out there. You don't need to go to any of these quarterbacks. Let's hope at least. Let's hope and pray. If you have to, maybe Andy Dalton. Let's just move on. We don't want any of them. Thanks again for being here, folks. Reminder, that thumbs up is a free, easy way to help us out. It is so appreciated. So thank you for that. If you're willing to give that like as we get now into the running back positions. And I will, of course, answer all your questions. Let's say we're about to 12:15 right now. Love to see that. Thank you, Wolfpack. Keep that interaction coming. And as I said, I will answer as many as I can until either my computer dies or I've got through them all. We will find out what happens. On to running backs. What better than Jonathan Taylor, who's been top 8 in all the last 5 weeks against a Houston team that is just abysmal. Should absolutely smash them. I think the only question of whether to have him at number 1 or 2 is the fact that Joe Mixon, even more, just 2 touchdowns in 4 straight games, is it? Unbelievable. 8 touchdowns across his last 6, if I'm not mistaken. It's a Chargers team that's bottom 5 in terms of points allowed to run back. Yeah, 2 touchdowns, 4 straight games. Unbelievable. Over 20 fantasy points in 5 of his last 6. Top 5 running back in 5 of his last 6. And now he gets one of the best matchups for running backs. Stud. Nothing else to say other than stud, stud, stud. Best second-round pick you could have made. Austin Eckler, sometimes he fell around 2, and that was just insane. Right on the other side of that, since he is certainly more susceptible to run than the pass, Eckler's doesn't matter. He's game flow proof, matchup proof. He'll get it done. Alexander Madison, 36 touches across the last, 6 receptions, 32 touches. So 34 opportunities in his last start against Seattle. And then he got one more spot start, 32 touches again. So 32 touches, not 36, but 32. That's still, if you're, only 32. Come on. 32 touches is 32 touches. And now they're coming against Detroit, the best matchup for running backs outside the Jets. Oh, yeah. Madison will smash yet again. It sucks for Dalvin Cook owners that they missed this matchup, but what can you do? Madison will kill them. Nigel Harris against Baltimore. Baltimore's been surprisingly better against the run across their last 4 games. Doesn't really matter for a guy like Najee, similar to Eckler. Matchup proof because he's so involved in every aspect. You're getting 25 touches every single week, probably finding the end zone. Last week's dud, toss it out there. Najee's going to be fine. And now you move into your, so those are your elite RB1s. These guys are right on the fringe, certainly at the top here too. Leonard Fournette, these are your RB1s, but locked in RB1s. I don't know. Maybe some of them do have to move up to the next tier. You look at those guys though, Jonathan Taylor and Mixon, gods. Let's continue on. Leonard Fournette, 40-point day. Talk about God. Unbelievable. And now he gets Atlanta, bottom 5 against the run. It's another smash play. The only risk is they're up so big, they maybe read at Ronald Jones a little bit more later. We'll find out. Eli Mitchell, though, 32 touches coming off his hand injury, right? Broken hand. He might be a little bit limited this week. 32 of 35 backfield touches. Highest touch total of the season. The guy's an absolute monster. Seattle has given up the 3rd most points to running backs. He's going to steamroll him. Love Eli Mitchell this week. Great DraftKings play at only 6K as well. Corduroy Patterson, another guy that just every week is so damn impressive. The Falcons hadn't scored a touchdown in the 2 games he missed. He comes right in, scores 2 touchdowns himself. Unbelievable. Unbelievable talent player. Tampa Bay, great run D, but that doesn't really matter because Patterson will be just as involved outside. Love the player. Kamara, is he going to play? We don't know quite yet. Has practiced in limited fashion throughout the week. Thank you. So if he's in, he's playing, in your fantasy lineups, that is. You can't ever bench Alvin Kamara unless there's a report that he's going to be really limited coming back. Dallas is pretty good, but still, you got to play Alvin Kamara. You got Gibson really rolling right now, over 20 fantasy points in 2 of his last 3, as you can see, 28, 17. Let's go to half. The biggest thing, 7 targets, huge. And if I'm not mistaken, McKissick, his injury, I'm a little behind on that news. I don't know if anything came out. I know he was carted off during the game. Let me just find, Kamara's questionable. I'm just scanning the news. Good to see Freeman practicing in full today. Cooper is going to be playing. I added that to the rankings. I don't know. Does anybody see any McKissick news today? I have not myself. But obviously would go a long way. The fact that he's already seeing 7 targets, even with McKissick in last week, is huge. And then McKissick had 2 touchdowns. Imagine if those went to Gibson. McKissick's out. Gets a Raiders team that's the 4th easiest. We've already talked about some of the easiest. This is a beautiful week for running backs because you love when your top talents have those cakewalk matchups, and he has another one too. Rolling right now, definitely a guy that has rebounded in the second half of the season. Daryl Henderson, getting Jacksonville, another easy matchup. Now he's banged up. He didn't practice today. Quad injury. Sony Michel ends up being the starter. He's going to be right here in your top 13, 14-ish range. But as it is right now, Henderson, 30 of the 35 touches last week, has been dominating the snaps. I think it was 16 and 19 carries, 35 of 40 running back snaps, nearly an every down player and one of the best offenses in the league. Love him. And then James Conner. I mean, he hasn't been outside the top 15 running backs since Edmonds went down. He had that one dud week against San Fran. That's 38 fantasy points for the running back 1. Never mind. So top 20 running back, I should say, in all of his last 5 games. Since Edmonds went down, he has been, top 10 in 2 of his last 3. Yeah, just a stud. Fine matchup against Chicago. Nothing to worry about there. Then you move into your tier 3. These are my last RB1s, kind of high-end RB2s. Better as an RB2 for sure, but if you have him as your RB1, I won't judge it too hard. Robinson, been pretty damn solid ever since week 3 or so. Rand's mediocre matchup. He'll be okay. He's involved enough as a receiver that even if they get down big, won't impact him. Barkley he's 80% of the snaps last week. Miami should be a good matchup, but they've really stifled it up. Now he gets Mike Glennon at QB. A little sketchy there. Zeke is banged up, and I know Jerry Jones is insisting they're not going to lower his workload, but I got to admit, I'm a little sketched out here on Zeke, especially with how well Pollard's playing. He's still going to be in lineups, RB15, but man, I just wish they'd rest him and let Pollard just do his thing for a night or 2. Come on. But Zeke in lineups, not a great matchup against New Orleans, banged up. Of all these top 15 guys, who am I most worried about? It'd probably be Zeke. Montgomery didn't get it done against Detroit. That was a real disappointment. He still played over 90% of the snaps, and he has since he came back. That should lead to some better success. Arizona, though, they're just a good defense. A little bit worse against the run than the pass, but not a slouch against the run. Don't love Montgomery. Josh Jacobs rounding out the top 17. He's been pretty involved as a receiver. 4, 7, 5, and 4 targets. I mean, not incredible, but certainly for Josh Jacobs standards, not bad. Now you move into the last running back 2s. Myles Gaskin, had a huge game with 2 touchdowns, but actually only played about half the snaps after playing 80% or higher in 4 straight games. A little bit of a concern. The thing that lessens that concern is the Giants are a top 7 matchups for running back, so he should be okay even in a split. But it was more of a split than I think people are going to realize. Jamal Williams, right into my top 20 running backs, plus 4 ECR. Swift is about to miss weeks, they said, and when he got out last week, Williams was the only player to touch the ball other than one running back among running backs. 1 touch. I think it was 20 of 21 went to Jamal Williams after Swift left. Nearly all the snaps, all but 6 snaps. He was an every down player. And in the past, is he an exciting talent? Not really. But when he has gotten the meaningful work, when Aaron Jones has been out, let's call it that, in that split, no Aaron Jones over the last 3 years, he's averaged nearly 15 fantasy points per game. That'd be right in your top 10 running backs on the season. Minnesota, bottom 10 matchup, nearly 130 yards allowed on the ground. They love passing to their running backs. Great matchup for a guy, maybe not the best talent, but volume galore. Love Jamal Williams this week. And you got Clydesdale-Hilaire against Denver. Came and got 70% of the touches off the injury, so we should have no concerns about his workload. Denver's a pretty good D, but I have no problem with firing Hilaire up as a top 20 guy. Miles Sanders, I wish I could rank him higher. I wonder if there's any news on his ankle injury. He's just such a pain in the fucking ass. Like, hasn't scored a touchdown in 9 games yet this year. How bad can you be? What better spot to ruin that than the Jets, the best matchup for running backs? But man, Boston Scott, as you can see, only a couple spots below, has getting the more valuable touches, more receiving work, more goal line looks. At their prices, I kind of like Boston Scott. We'll see. You got your Broncos committee. Neither back can really separate from the other, and both are being productive. If one of them did separate, they'd be up here because of how productive that run scheme has been. Specifically, Javonte Williams, an unbelievable beast, like clearly so much better. But fantasy owners, we can't wish it into existence, sadly. But both those guys, viable RB2s, as is Pollard. I do think he'll be more involved no matter what Jerry Jones says. Freeman, back-to-back games with 20-plus carries. You got to love that. Rather 20-plus touches, not carries. 16, 22 carries. Yeah, so just solid. Didn't do a ton with his touches last week with only 7, but just the clear-cut bell cow there, which you like to see. And then you round out your RB2s with Harris and Stevenson. The hardest matchup for running backs, but if the Bills are susceptible to anything, it's a tough offensive line. You saw that with the Colts and Jonathan Taylor putting up 5 TDs. We could get multiple scores for these guys, but they are clearly eating each other's cheese. 55% of snaps for Harris, 45% for Stevenson, or rather the rushing workload. And then you got Bolden mixing in for a 13% target share. They're great in real life. Fantasy-wise, it's going to be a little bit of a nightmare unless one goes down. So concern. And now you move. It's a pretty steep drop-off. And as you can see, these are your last fringe flex plays at best. So it goes from low end RB2 to let's not play these guys, please. And Matt Breida leads the list as 3 straight weeks of the most backfield points for the Bills. Zach Moss, a healthy scratch. That happens again. An even clearer path to more volume. Still would prefer not to have to use him, though. Tevin Coleman, what did he have this week? 8 points. 16 carries, though. I mean, that 8 points on 16 carries tells you all you need to know about the talent, but volume is volume is volume. And Tony Jones taught us that's not always a good bet. Alex Collins sucks. Adrian Peterson was just signed there. He'll be a bump down. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to have to start any of these guys. McKissick would be higher if he wasn't banged up, but did he practice today? Scores 2 TDs. Carted off. No word yet on his status. If anybody's seen anything, please keep me posted. Yeah, you don't want to start any of these guys when you get down here. And maybe Ingram needs to be a little bit higher. I'm already +6 ECR on him. Because even if Kamara plays, he had a meaningful role even without Kamara, as we can see here. Beast without him. And then at 9 and 6, we're okay even with him. So if you're down rolling in this mud, you might as well throw a dart at freaking Ingram. Some guys that just make sure you're not playing. Ty Johnson was the 3rd behind Austin Walter. So -12 ECR. It doesn't even feel like I'm low enough. Let's not talk about these guys. The only guy that could come into some value here I see is Sony Michel, maybe Ronald Jones doing some mop-up duty against them. Those are a couple names down here. Yeah, DJ Dallas a little bit involved as a receiver. So those are your real gross Hail Marys. Let's move on to wide receivers. And again, as we get to this next position, folks, I beg for a between every position, but that thumbs up button does truly help us out. If you haven't smashed it for us already and you're enjoying the content, it'd be really appreciated. And of course, if you haven't subbed to the channel, that would also be greatly appreciated as well. We're trying to get to that 2K. We're getting close to our goals. So continue to help us out, Wolfpack. It's so appreciated. Thank you again for being here. We're about over 20 questions now. Not bad. Let's get to 30. Let's get some questions in here, folks. Come on now. Alrighty. Cooper Kupp, Jags, #1 receiver. I mean, even his down week last week, what did he have? 15? I mean, he doesn't really have, 15, 18, 15. So I guess a little bit lesser these last 3, but lesser in the sense that he was just insane. 30, multiple back-to-back weeks. He's still a beast. Justin Jefferson, Detroit, what needs to be said there? Another beast against the war secondary and PFF grades. I'm gonna eat them. Tyreek Hill, tougher matchup for him, but he's every week has the chance to take the top off the defense and just go crazy. If I'm not mistaken, I think he had a decent day against Denver earlier this year. Have they not even faced Denver? No, I guess they haven't faced them yet. Never mind. Who did his blow-up come against? I thought it was a divisional opponent. He had that 142. Oh, Philadelphia. Okay, I guess not divisional, but clear smash. But he's been inconsistent. He's gone. Mahomes is gone, which has been Up or down. Diggs gets the second hardest matchup for wide receivers facing New England. He still get his. He's really kind of rebounded, even with like lesser total catches. Yeah, look at those 26, 16, 17, top 8 and 2 and 3. Nice performances from him. Now you move on to your wide receiver ones. So these are like your elite of the elite. Then you get to your wide receiver ones. And as you can see, Godwin, love him. Atlanta, he's going to smash him despite the little dud last week. Keenan Allen against Cincy, they're pretty decent against receivers, but when you kick him inside, he moves all over. He's seen, I think, 12 targets in all but like 2 games, 10 last week. So yeah, double digits at least in all of everything since the bye week. That's sexy. That's really sexy. And yeah, he's producing pretty good. Like 25, wide receiver 25 is his lowest finish in the last 5 weeks. 12 points is the lowest total. Great floor. Absolutely beautiful floor for Keenan Allen. Love CeeDee Lamb's ceiling, as you can see, +3 ECR. We have the Saints allowing I know it's like top 10, right? Saints against receivers. No, I guess 17th. They're more susceptible to quarterbacks. I guess it must be rushing. Either way, CeeDee Lamb, fresh off returning. Cooper's going to be there, so it's not like he's the clear-cut guy. You do have like the 3-point floor, so a little sketchier. Maybe that's why the ECR is a little lower on him, but I still love the guy. I think he goes crazy. This is like shaping up to be a 2-touchdown Evans day. Atlanta should destroy them. Deontay Johnson hasn't seen less than 10 targets just twice all year. Look at that. Beautiful. 13 or more in 4 of his last 5 games. Crazy. Just an absolute definition of a bell cow receiver, if there ever was one. And I get this starts about him every week. I don't get it. He should destroy this secondary. Another 15 targets coming his way. Man, if he had a talented quarterback. I guess the one benefit of Big Ben is he just loves to pepper him. Yeah, Hopkins coming back on +4 ECR. Chicago is abysmal against wide receivers. They've given up. Where are the Bears on this list? They were bottom 5 just a few weeks ago. I guess maybe they've really tightened up lately. 25th? That doesn't seem right. I don't know if this list is 100% updated right now. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. That's a 2020 list. I clicked on the wrong wide receiver tab. Yeah, so Saints are allowing to just backtrack a second. Saints are 5th easiest matchup for wide receivers this year. They were pretty good against the position last year. Not so much this year. The Bears are the 6th most points allowed. So I had clicked the 2020 tab for wide receivers. My fault, folks. But now you know that those guys are CeeDee Lamb and DeAndre Hopkins, both in completely juicy matchups. Patterson as a wide receiver, top 12, top 8 running back. Those are leagues if you get that dual flexibility. Love it. A little bit lower on Jamar Chase, as you can see. And, I mean, you look at the stats, and you'll probably understand why. 12-6, 12-5, 27-48, 27-53. He's really gone downhill. I mean, it was bound to catch up with him, right? Being 9 points above fantasy expectation every week. It finally has caught up with him. Yes, talent like this can always be hyper efficient. And sure, he's still going to be in your lineups, no doubt about it. But yeah, there's definitely a lower floor here when T. Higgins is the number 1 target, it seems. I think he's the number 1 weapon, Jamar Chase, but number 1 target is going to T. Higgins right now. And you got Adam Thielen just rolling. He'll score a couple against Detroit. It's just clockwork for him. You move on to here, this tier. So that was like your remaining wide receiver ones. I got 13 of them that I really like. Then you get into your like high-end wide receiver 2s. And Terry McLaurin, I can't really call him much above that. 3 below experts. He's just so up and down this year. He's either going to get you top 3 numbers or he's going to be bottom, 9, 8, 19, 7, 35, 7. Look at that, 5, 22, 5, 7, 27. Like just busting more than he's booming. Could he boom against the Las Vegas Raiders? Sure, they've been pretty good against wide receiver ones, though. Houston, Pittman, he'll smash him. The only risk there is they destroy them so much that they just don't need to really throw it. That's happened in quite a few Colts games. In fact, I think that happened last time they faced Houston. Yeah, 2 catches for 35. So yeah, that's the risk with Pittman. But easy matchup. He should smash. They just might not need him, though. That's the one risk. Do love Jalen Waddle. I mean, look at the target share this guy has seen. 11, 10, 6, 9, 10. Coming off his best game as a pro, 137 and a TD. Whew. Was wrong about him in Dynasty for sure. Not a bad matchup against the Giants at all. Marquis Brown just below him, 19 plus points. in all but I think 3 or 4 weeks. I guess these last couple have been a little bit dudsy given how sketchy Lamar has been. So keep that in mind with Marquis Brown. That's why I'm a couple spots below. Maybe even go Brandon Ayuk ahead of him. That he's the clear number one with Debo out, and he's been kind of rolling 16-4, 18-11. These last 4, he's gotten his legs back under him, and he's kind of slapping it around. Love it. T. Higgins, huge week last week. And like the targets that we said have been there for him compared to Chase. Should be like 10, 12, 11, 320. Very solid. This was like finally that blow-up game. Good to see that ceiling. Reminded of it this week. Should definitely be in your top 20 receivers as he's been these last 3 of these last 4 games. Mooney, anybody better than Mooney right now? Wide receiver. I mean, the guy's killing it. Since Andy Dalton took over and Robinson's been out. 21 and 15 and 19 across his last 3. Whew. Top 4 in 2 of those 3 games. Beautiful. Arizona is a good pass D, so I worry a little bit about that, but you got to love Mooney. He's got to be locked in the lineups. Even ahead of Amari Cooper. Who would have thought that would happen this year? But 5, 7, and 8 in his last, single digits in 3 of his last 4. Pretty sketchy. And now he's a little sick. New Orleans, again, easy matchup, but a little sketchy. I might put him below Lockett, maybe even below Renfro. Renfro's he had 1 dud in his last 4, but very consistent. 14, 14, 6, and 18. Whew. Top 14 in 3 of his last 4. Even better in full PPR. And now he gets Washington, allowing the most points to wide receivers. Go have a day, Renfro. Why do I have you at 24? Clearly you belong up here. Oh, yeah, and then Cook's I skipped over him by accident, getting an Indy defense that's giving up the most passing touchdowns. Should be a smash spot. Renfro needs to get elevated, though, ahead of Cooper and Lockett, in my opinion. So just taking these mental notes, I'll be updating the rankings after the show. And they'll be posted at roastedjoe.com. We breed and feed you fantasy wolves. Devonza Smith, a couple down weeks in a row, eating that McDonald's before the pregame. It looked like he was on pace to go blow up the doors again, and then 8 and 3. What's right for a breakout? The Jets. So gets that going for him. DK, minus 10 ECR, but I think that's generous. 4, 5, and 2. 55, 54, 55, 90. And those were with Russell Wilson. It's not like we can blame that on Geno Smith. His best game in the last 10 weeks has come from Geno Smith. Pathetic. I am a little bit higher on Beckham. He didn't practice today, but man, as long as he's out there, 10 targets, a 26% share, he's going crazy. I want to be higher on Elijah Moore. I should be higher on Elijah Moore. Entering last week, he was the wide receiver 1 across the last 4 weeks. And then Zach Wilson comes in. Only Zach Wilson, 24-12, 26-7 points. Ugh. Just abysmal. Scored a touchdown from all the Jets quarterbacks except Zach Wilson. Awful. Van Jefferson right there with Odell Beckham, in my opinion. 9 targets last week, getting deep with regularity. Love him as the wide receiver 3. I think it's even better for his fantasy value when he plays that. Kendrick Bourne, sneaky wide receiver 12 since week 3. Let me repeat that. Kendrick Bourne is the wide receiver 12 since week 3. Bananas. Had 2 touchdowns last week. Gets the toughest matchup of the year. Buffalo giving up the fewest points, but now no Tre'Davious White. So I like him and Myers clearly above the ECR just a bit. I think that game does have sneaky shoot-up potential. Didn't mean to skip over Claypool. He's had a few pretty good games back-to-back weeks, 12 and 10, serviceable. More steady volume, 9 and 8 targets since he came back from injury. You love to see that. Talk about not steady volume. That's Mike Williams. He hasn't seen more than 6 targets in, I think, 6 straight weeks. He got 8 last week. They had 4 catches, 6 points. Before that, 6, 6, 5, 5, 5. Oh, got lucky with a late touchdown for that 18-point. 4, 3, 7, 5, and 6 as 5 of his last 6 games. Not good, Mike Williams, not good. He fooled us at the beginning of the year, that Alpha X, right? Christian Kirk, I love. I think he's in a great spot. 6 most points to receivers. You got good old Kyler Murray coming back. Just great stuff. Sterling Shepard plus 18 ECR. I can't believe I'm as high as I am. I think everyone should be higher than him. The last 5 games dating back to last year, he has averaged nearly 12 targets a game. He's been wide receiver 19 or better. He's just solid every time he's in, and he's going to play this week. So when he's in, he's great. Is he going to get hurt first play of the game? Maybe. That's the risk of putting him in there. That's probably why everyone's a little bit lower on him, but I'm banking on him being solid. I'm not into Jerry Jeudy. I'm not into really any Broncos receivers. 6, 10, 8, 4. What's there to get high about here? That week 1 performance where he had 10 points in the first half. I love that. Teddy Bridgewater's not sustaining multiple good receivers. A little bit lower on Gallup. That's probably the dust settling of Cooper being here, and rankings haven't caught up quite yet. He's the number 3 now. So do with that. Could he catch a deep touchdown? Of course he could, but yeah. I'd rather take a shot maybe on T.Y. Hilton, the Texans slayer. He knows it too. He gets up for these games. He's going to kill him. So he's out there in a ton of leagues. Definitely a good flyer. I'd put him in there ahead of Bateman. As much as I love the player, don't love the volume in 8, 11, 4, 5 these last couple weeks. Ugh. He deserves 10 targets a week, and it sucks. But till he gets it, what are we going to do? Cole Beasley. I think this is going to be a sneaky Beasley game. I have a feeling against the Pats, that's going to be where they try to exploit us. Marvin Jones is so overrated, as is Cortland Sutton. Cortland Sutton averages 4 points a game since Judy came back. Just terrible. Gauge a viable streamer. Now we're getting into the territory. Like, if you're getting this low, maybe you just toss into Deshaun Jackson, facing his old former team. I'm plus 12 ECR on him out there in all but 90% of leagues. You can go find him. Had that 100 yards in a TD day last time. I think he does that again against Washington. He always gets up for former games. And then it's like, all right, come on. We don't, maybe Tony coming back with Freddie Kitchens will do some more damage. Glennon actually loved him the last time they played together. Didn't practice, so he might also be out too. So something to track, and that would also help out Sterling Shepard, who did he practice today? Also did not practice. All righty. Well, we'll have to be monitoring those injuries. All righty. Thank you. But then you're getting down here, if I got to toss out a Hail Mary, it'd be Juwan Jennings playing the number 2 receiver role for the 49ers until Deebo Samuel's back. Caught a touchdown on that role last week. Against the Seahawks team, that's not that good. And they're reeling right now. So he's a decent Hail Mary. Josh Reynolds, I don't mind as like a deep bomb potential Hail Mary. Other than that, Zay Jones is really deep Hail Mary, but he was the wide receiver, I believe, 20 last week. Or is it 36.9 points? I guess not that great, but 559, 7 targets has a place. Probably on your bench, but you're desperate. You're desperate. Alrighty, folks, last position, tight ends, and we'll really quickly hit defense and kickers because I get a ton of questions on defense and kickers. I want to make sure especially defenses, give you guys my rankings there. Obviously, Travis Kelce, though, you're number 1. As we get into these last few, please consider, again, that thumbs up button. If you're still here with us, you must be enjoying the content, or at least hope so. Or maybe you just want to shit on me in the comments. I don't care. Either way, that thumbs up button would really help us. Hit the dislike if you want. The more interaction, the better. So whatever you're feeling, it would be appreciated, Wolfpack. Thank you again for being here, though. I do greatly appreciate it. Live tomorrow, 7 p.m. for the show with the truth, as we always do. Kelce, number 1, no questions about it. Denver, decent matchup. They're pretty good defense, but I'm not worried. Higher on Gronk, as I always am. For some reason, he's not top 2 in everybody's list. And 25, 18, got hurt, 10, 16, beast. Double digits every game he's made it through. And last week got done without touchdowns. Unless Antonio Brown's back, and we'll find out. Love him. And even if Antonio Brown's back, he's going to catch a bunch of touchdowns. Love Gronk. Mark Andrews not too far, though. Number 3 tight end in fantasy, I believe, right now. Stud. George Kittle, stud. Didn't get done last week, though, right? Like, he's a little bit more fluctuating than your studs. Your 17, 14, 11 seem like he's going to be that every week. Monster than 2. Thanks, George. Really appreciate that, Georgie. Dawson Knox talking about getting it done every week. Red zone monster. 11, 17, 2 scores last week. Tight end 2 last week. Whew, love him. New England, the hardest matchup for tight ends. They use him so they move. If you watched last week, you just saw it. Backfield, route for a touchdown. Slot, route for a touchdown. They move him around enough. Plays ahead of all the other receivers. He's a 99% snap player on the year. Like, he kills it. Pat Fryman with Preston in full is huge for him. Baltimore has been bleeding points at the tight end position. I believe they're the 2nd worst team. Pulling that up right now. 4th worst team. Okay. Great matchup for him either way. Should get it done. And then TJ Hawkins in Minnesota. He did catch a touchdown last week. Seems to be getting it back together a little bit. Minnesota is the 4th hardest matchup for tight ends, though. I could see him disappearing on you yet again. Gesicki disappearing lately. I don't want to play him if I don't have to. 19th most points allowed to the position. I do like Dallas Goedert, but last we're talking about disappearing tight ends. Look at 1 point. Ooh. Still has about a 30% target share, but that's the low floor. I think against the Jets, he'll be okay for you, though. Kyle Pitts, man, what do we make of this? This elite, unstoppable talent, 2.84. Oh, elite, unstoppable, huh? I do think he falls in that 8 range this week, but as you can see, clearly below the ECR, 5 spots below. And I've been below most times this year. And one time that didn't work out was against the Jets, which should have been pretty obvious. Foster Moreau, last time he played without Waller, 100% of the snaps, went 660 and a touchdown, ran routes on all but like 5 dropbacks. Beast. Washington, nothing to shy away from. So this was like your remaining tight end ones. This is like your elite tight end twos. You know, if you need a tight end one, a guy like Foster Moreau could do it. You saw Logan Thomas walk right back into 5 targets. Raiders are giving up the second most points to tight ends. I do think he could step right in to a solid role. I would prefer streaming Foster Moreau, though, still out there in all but 90, all but 10% of leagues right now. Go get him if you need a streamer. I want to point out that, Hunter Henry the last couple of weeks has seemed to take a back seat to Jonnu Smith, 4-3. You got to be concerned about that. You got to be concerned about Noah Fant, 6'2", 8'3". Ooh, gross. He's really disappeared these last few. Who's not disappearing? Maybe you play him ahead of them is Gerald Everett, 10, 5, and 12. 8 and 9 targets in 2 of those games. And Pete Carroll saying we need to get more involved. So that's a viable streamer. We had 10 targets for Cole Kmet in 2 of his last 3 games as well. Conklin, touchdown or bust, but against Detroit, maybe a good bet to get a touchdown. I just want to highlight, too, Jack Doyle as a potential streamer. 17 points last week, and you look at it, 8-7, 5-5. Like, ew, no, but like all these guys, that's better than Noah Fant's been. That's better than, I want to just make sure to emphasize this, -7 ECR on Tyler frickin' Higbee. Why would he ever touch your lineup? 7, 4, 8, 10, 1. Oh, 1. Has there ever been a player like with a more prominent role in an offense, like a good offense, that just sucks? Pathetic. Let's move on, folks. That's all the tight ends you probably care about. And we will get on to your defenses and kickers. Over 30 questions. That's what I like to see, Wolfpack. Get them on in here. Happy to answer everything we got coming in here. Number 1 defense of the week, +3 ECR. Miami facing the Mike Glennon-led Giants. They're going to smother him. Because guess what? They've put up 17 or more fantasy points in 3 of their last 4 games. Monsters. And this is the easiest matchup they've had yet. Mike Glenn's the easiest matchup for anybody to ever have. And they're at home. They give the Jets also off the bye next week. So Giants, bye, Jets. Definitely a must roster right now and a must hold through the bye, the way this team is playing. You can't argue much about the Bucs against an Atlanta team that's top 2 in points allowed to fantasy defenses. If I'm not mistaken, I'm going to pull up that. Yep, number 1 in terms of points allowed. So great spot for them. Rams get the number 2 team right there. Colts been a very solid defense all year, even against good offenses. As you can see, all those double-digit games. Houston should be no difference, even if they're on the road. Yeah, the Eagles, I guess I'm a little lower on them, given the Jets is such a cakewalk matchup, but they're just not that good, the Eagles defense. Yeah, and they're on the road. They've been pretty good lately, though. Look at that, 21-0, 15-11-5. We're looking at a double-digit game. Maybe they belong in that top tier. Okay, fine. Chicago, Andy Dalton, Cardinals, good defense all year. Line them up. Taysom Hill does make the Cowboys a little bit riskier just because they bleed clock and he doesn't really turn the ball over all that much. At least historically. You never know what could happen this year, but okay. I love the Vikings. Look at the matchups they got these next few weeks. So out there in a ton of leagues entering today, yeah, they haven't been great, but they get Detroit, an awful Pittsburgh offensive line, and then Chicago across the next 3 games. Definitely a team that can really carry you into those playoffs if you need it. Pats against Buffalo, one of the best defenses in the league. It's one of the best offenses in the league. The classic immovable object meets the unstoppable force. Go Pats. They're going to kill them. Let's go, baby. Kansas City Chiefs, Denver. Bad offense. And they've been playing, if I'm not mistaken, in the last 3 games, 11, 7, 15. Not bad. Top 12 in 3 straight weeks. That should be top 12 again. Number 10 for me. I don't hate the Ravens. I think they can definitely go get after Big Ben. The Bills, Mac Jones has been on fire, but it's not an offense that's prolific. That defense has been solid all year, so I like them. And then, do you really need any of these other teams? I don't hate, if you have to go someone, maybe Denver. He is 17 getting the Chargers last week. Not an easy matchup. Maybe they can go get after Mahomes. And then you got Detroit the week after that. They're not bad out there in a ton of leagues. And I like the Bengals. I liked them last week. I like them again. It's just a good defense against a good Chargers offense, but the Broncos just put up 17 points against them. They're not unstoppable. So those are some defenses that will be out there for you. I don't like the Giants. A lot of team top 12 ranked in the ECR. When have they done anything on defense? 14-2-13. Okay, take that back. They've been okay these last few weeks. But I think Miami's just been like really steady on defense. I think they're going to turn the ball over a ton and give the offense good field position. I'm worried. I'm worried about that. You don't need to go down that low, these other defenses. And we'll wrap this thing up. Just to let you know, Tucker's my number one. Yeah, cool. Nick Folk, 22 points last week, was it? 21. He had 22 for me. Top 3 quarter kicker in both his last 2 weeks. Love him. Matt Gay against Jacksonville. They're going to boot the ball. The one concern there is they just score touchdown after touchdown. Carlson coming off a 24-point day, was it? He smacked me around. That's for damn sure. Greg Joseph, Detroit. Nobody's taking more 50-yard attempts than him. So your elite leg gods. I wish I could be higher on Tyler Bass, but 7.917. He really has been kind of lackluster. Do I need a new kicker? I might. I might have to go get a new kicker. He's kind of disappointing me. Maybe I go for Michael Badger. He's got 11 in back-to-backs. 11, 9. Yeah, so it'll be steady. Just steady for the bags. I'm a little bit lower on Suckup because I think it's going to be a touchdown fest. Last time they faced Atlanta, he only had 6 points because of the 6 extra points. No field goal attempts. Something like that could easily be the case again this time out. Boswell's not bad. There's your kickers. Robbie Gould, 49ers, pretty solid guy as well. All righty, guys. That is all I got for your rankings. I hope you enjoyed the show, and we will now get in your mailbag. Until this computer dies, we will answer your questions. Thanks so much for getting here, Wolfpack. And as we answer these questions, that thumbs up button would be greatly appreciated. So please, again, a free, easy way to help us out. Really appreciate it if you can do that for us. PPR, should I start Zeke or Jamal Williams? Ooh, Mark, great question. It's so hard to bench Zeke, but I would say Jamal has a higher floor. How crazy is that? I have Zeke a couple spots higher, but man, if you're just going for safety, I think Jamal Williams is safer. He's going to get 15 plus touches. He's not a great talent, but right now with Zeke banged up, is he a great talent and a harder matchup for Zeke? This is one of those classic cases where I have Zeke a couple spots higher, but I kind of want to go Jamal Williams. Is that getting too cute? Where are you leaning, Mark? I kind of want to tell you Jamal Williams. At least he's safer. Ward Willis, great to see you. 10-team PPR. Ayuk and Freeman out there. Yeah, go get Ayuk first and then Freeman next. Yes, absolutely make that claim. Mike Davis, 10-teamer. Why? He shouldn't be on rosters in 15-teamers. Ward Willis, get rid of him ASAP. Schneider, that's what I love to hear. Must-win matchup. I know you started out the year shitty, but man, sounds like you're starting to roll at the time where it matters getting hot. And me and Truth were talking about this the other day. The teams that get hot at the end of the year, always just carry that into the playoffs. I love it. Jalen Hurts or Taysom? I got to go Jalen Hurts. I know last week sucked. And I like Taysom Hill. I'm starting him in place of Rodgers this week because Rodgers on bye. But Jalen Hurts, I'm going to figure him for one dud week. He has had a top 12 week in all but 2 weeks this year. Very consistent. Decent matchup for him, Ward. I'm rolling him. No Toe, what's up, brother? Good to see you, Matthew. 9-3. I love to hear it, man. Bateman, Gallup, Corey Davis, full PPR. Appreciate the help. It's paid off. Good to hear it, man. I'm happy to hear it. I really don't like any of these guys. I'm not going to lie to you. Zach Wilson does seem to prefer Corey Davis. It's tough to know because he was out last week. And he could be out again. Is T.Y. Hilton out there now too? I'd rather stream him than any of these guys. I would probably go for Gallup here. I just think Dak's going to sling that thing all over the yard, and you just go for the big play. That's where I'm leaning Gallup. I want it to be Bateman so bad. I really do. But it hasn't been for 2 straight weeks, and as good as he's deserving as he is, I'm worried about that. I missed this. Drakes, thank you so much for the super chat. Sometimes I miss those when I transition from – it doesn't show us both in the tabs. But, my man, I should have got this one first, Stephen Drakes. My apologies. I should have got that mid-show. It just doesn't pop up when I'm in the the banners in the StreamYard program. It gives us 2 separate spots. So I hope you're still here with us. Really, really appreciate the support, my man. Thank you for that. So appreciated. Would have got to this first. And again, my apologies for not doing that. That's what we promised you. I did not uphold my end of the bargain. But let's get this. Would you drop Khalil Herbert or Alex Collins to pick up Boston Scott? Either of them. I would drop Collins first. He's useless. And if Stoney's the starter, top 15 play for me. But yeah, I would drop either Collins or Herbert. I would drop Collins first myself, though, because he has no value. Even as a starter, he has no value. Whereas Khalil Herbert, if something happens in Montgomery, we've seen him be a top 15 running back, the every down guy, right? So at this stage of the season, Alex Collins is doing nothing for you. Absolutely. I'd rather have Boston Scott than either, but drop Collins first. And I do think, again, Sony would be a top 15 guy if he's the starter. We did not get any practice out of Daryl Henderson. McVay did say after he expects him to play, but I would take that with a big bucket load of salt. Thanks again for the super chat too, Steven. I really appreciate it. Broderick, Forcier. Who would you drop to make room? Standard League. Robinson, Kirk, or Tony? Get rid of Robinson. I don't know who you're trying to make room for, but Robinson doesn't matter. You can get rid of Tony too if you needed to. I love Kirk, though. I don't want to drop Kirk. He's been so steady all year, especially when with Murray coming back. Start 2 for Schneider. Gallup, Van, Damian Harris, McKissick, and Christian Kirk. I'm probably going to go double receiver here, especially if it's full PPR. I kind of like Van as the top receiver. And then Kirk. I'm going Van and Kirk. That's where I'm leaning. Michael Schneider. What's up, Eat Powder? Good to see you. Let's definitely get it this week, brother. Love to hear it. Zeke or Jamaal. We just got that one at the top. And man, I have Zeke higher because it's Zeke, right? But if it's safety you need, you're getting 15 to plus touches from Jamaal. I just feel like he's safer. I might have to change this in my rankings because you asked me the question. Like, I make the rankings. I don't really think about it because Zeke is so high up in the ECR. I'm like, oh, I'm down on him. I'll bring him to 15. I'm high on Jamaal, bump him to 19. But if I was making this decision myself and call it too cute, I would probably go Jamaal. Carr or Taysom Hill? Midnight 201, I have Taysom 1 spot higher. Carr is the definite floor play. The easiest matchup for QBs. He's cooking right now. I just like Taysom Hill. Every time he starts, he eats because of the Konami upside. So I'd go Taysom. But man, it really depends on your matchup. I hate when I have to give an answer like that, but there's oftentimes you just want a nice, safe Derek Carr. And they're 1 and 2. And if you've been starting Carr and that's like your QB and your team's used to him, fantasy locker room would be a little upset, I think. But I would, if I have these 2 choices, I'm going Taysom. I'm going for the rushing upside. Thank you again, Steven. Really appreciate it. What up, Ben? Pray for Buffalo and Matt. Yeah. Seriously. What is going on with that line? I'd be hammering the plus 3.5 for Mackie Jones and the Pats all day. I'd take a money line. Mike Glennon starting for the Giants. Oh, yeah. Number 1 defense of the week, midnight. With you 100%. Take a chance starting Mike Williams over DK. They're both boomer bust crap. So if you're going for 1 boomer bust, I'd rather just go DK, but they both suck right now. Drop Bateman for Gage. I wouldn't, Brad. Gage is so, he's safer, but no, I'd rather see what happens with Bateman rest of the season. Did someone bless you in the background after that sneeze, or did you pull a Quinnen Williams from draft day and bless yourself? That was a bless you from the other room. Ben Thompson. Great question. Best question of the night. That was a bless you. Could probably hear the chuckle of the blesser in the background too. What's up, man? Bulldog. Drop Judy for Odell. I'd rather have Odell than Judy. Yeah, straight up. I still want to. Judy's so talented. Like, I'd like to keep giving him a chance if he can stash him and drop someone else. But if it's one or the other, it's Odell I'd rather have. Schneider. 5 top 15 backs when healthy. Woo, Schneider. Cool off with a little water thinking about that. 3 between Kamara, Eckler, Fournette, and Robinson. I'd probably bench. I got Henry. He's injured. Phew. I would probably bench Robinson here too. I guess the safest option is benching Kamara and waiting and see, but he always just be like, Kamara on the bench, here comes 3 touchdowns. I would probably bench Robinson here, Schneider. Assuming that Kamara's full go, right? We get reports that he's going to be eased in. We change our tune. Only thing I see McKissick is they did not participate in practice. So that's leaning maybe towards out. Definitely helps Gibson for sure. Bateman, Pollard, DK, full PPR. I kind of go Pollard here, Daniel. Like, I don't really trust Bateman. Maybe DK. The one thing with DK is, like, as soon as you bench him, it's a 30-point day. So, Holland, if you want to be that sacrificial lamb and bench DK for Pollard, I got to pick two. I'm going to bench Bateman. It made it easy for me. If you're curious, I drafted Kamara, Henry, and Eckler my first 3 picks last year when the league started. Picked up Rob. Yeah. Whew. So it's a keeper league. Where did you get? Who was the third pick out of there? Like, who fell all the way to round 3 of those 3 guys? Unbelievable. Fournette and Madison at running back and James Conner at the flex. Do I start Zeke or Henderson over any of them? I would not. Nope. You got all the 3 top guys. I guess Henderson maybe over Robbins. Oh, no, you have James Conner. No. Fournette, Madison, James Conner. Ride it. Absolutely. Zeke and Patterson. Oh, yeah. No doubt. Jamaal, CEH, Paul. I'm going Jamaal there. Broderick. I love Jamaal, the volume. Not a great talent, but he gets it done when he gets the volume. He's going to get the volume. Trade Mike Williams for Justin Jefferson after his... Oh, whew. Anthony Fellow just rub it into everybody's face, huh? Unbelievable. Great trade. That's the definition of just smashing a person in a trade. Hollywood Brown or Terry McLaurin in the flex. I'd go Terry. They're both a little boom or bust these days. I'll go with the talent there in Terry. He seems to like alternate bad week, good week. Coming off a bad week, probably going to have a good week. Sure, you're talking about Jay Chase, but I missed. Sorry. How you feel rest of the season? Yeah, he's still a must start because he's so nobody has as much upside every week. Like he's a monster. I do think, it does depend on your options, I guess. But he has been, as we talked about, last 6 weeks, 10 points per game. First 4 weeks, 25 points. Like it is night or day. And it was bound to catch up with him because T. Higgins was consistently seeing more targets. But yeah, he's so talented, he's still a must start. Because as soon as you put him on the bench, you're getting 70. It's not like DK where it's like, I'm really genuinely worried when he doesn't show up. He didn't show up last week, but like, he's still so damn good. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Giuseppe, what's going on? You got Taysom. I love it. Good stuff. I go Taysom over 2 of myself, brother. Let's ride him tomorrow, baby. Who to start? Judy or Gage, full PPR for grind, don't stop. I'd go Judy, but I don't feel great about it. Thank you, Broderick. Yeah. Number 5 this week, week 12 and the Fantasy Pros rank. I guess I should have hyped myself up a little bit at the beginning of the show, but try to stay humble. Yeah, number 5 last week, though. So pumped. It's been a weird week, a weird season in general. I get caught like a lot of times where I'm doing the live stream and we have questions right to the end, and then I forget to take out someone who's injured. And when that happens, Fantasy Pros just smashes you down. So this week I got off like an extra 20 minutes early and really fixed things up, and it worked out for me. So I obviously appreciate your congratulations. I was really pumped to see it. I want to finish the season like top 10 in all these last few weeks. Show that the Wolf comes through in your playoffs and your crunch time. That's the goal. Just really pumped to have a good week. It's been a long time. Last season I was top 10 all year. So yeah, I'm pumped, Broderick. Thanks so much, man. I appreciate that. Should I trade DK for Cook? I have playoffs clinched. If you have playoffs clinched, yeah, I would probably do that because DK just kind of sucks anyways. Yeah, Kevin, I would do that. You might not see Cook the rest of the year, but is DK going to matter the rest of the year is the question. Both down weeks, Judy Bateman. I go Bateman myself, but it's close. Grind don't stop. That's your boy, though. Come on now. Knox is tied at 1 by half PPR. Should I trade away Hunter Henry for more depth? Yeah, if you can. Who you getting? But Hunter Henry, yeah, he's kind of playing behind Jonnu right now. Knox is locked in. You're never going to play anyone above him. I would do that. Ward, I didn't even see this, a $5 super sticker. It didn't. The super chats pop up, but you sent a super sticker. I don't even know what it is, but now I really want to. Thanks so much, brother. I really appreciate the support, man. So appreciate you guys. Thanks so much. I want to see what the sticker is now. I might have to just pull up YouTube so I can look and see what it is. Thanks so much, Ward Willis, though. You're a legend. Showing up all the time. So appreciated. Bigger game, Logan Thomas or Pitts? I go Pitts, but it's close. Grind don't stop. It's really close. And the Raiders have given him the second most. I'm starting to lean Logan, but I'm going to go Pitts there. What are you thinking? Kamara, Madison. I'm going to go Madison. I feel okay about that one. The other ones have been kind of hit or miss, but I like Madison. 32 touches in both of his starts, and now he gets that against Detroit. That's locked in. Kamara, coming off the injuries, he's going to get a full workload. I'm going to go Madison there. Van Jefferson, let's hype it up, baby. Is this your new Bateman here, Grind Don't Stop? You're pumping that train, baby. Let's go. What up, Forest Law? Good to see you. Cheers, brother. Cheers. Kamara plays. I don't expect a limited role. Yeah, I mean, probably not. But I'd still go Madison myself there. And guys, as we're wrapping up these questions, that thumbs up will help us get out to more people and is always so appreciated. Thank you, guys. David Ho, do I start Mooney or Mike Williams? Go Mooney, baby. Especially if you have to win. Like, you can't trust Mike Williams in a must-win spot. Mooney's got, top 14 receiver in 3 straight weeks. Top 4 in 2 of them. Oh, yeah. You go Mooney, baby. You go Mooney, David Ho. 10-team PPR. Start Zeke, Claypool, Pollard, or CEH. You need one. I'm going to go Zeke there. Zeke or Pollard. I want one of the running backs. Whichever Cowboy you feel more reward, you go them. But I go Zeke myself. Dynasty League. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah. That makes sense. Still, money set up there. I am so ready for some Thursday Night Football, baby. Taysom Hill for me, fantasy-wise. You know me and the truth will be lightening up tomorrow. Grind Don't Stop. I know I'll see you there. Always the best tailgate around. You know that. You could chase week 13, full PPR. I got to go chase there, fella, but man, is it close. I almost feel, fuck, that's tough, but I'm going chase. I have to. You have to go chase. But Ayuk is so damn good. Like, can you squeeze him into a flex, fella? I don't know. McGrady, J-Rob, Madison, Ayuk, start 2 PPR. I would be benching Ayuk there. It comes down, Madison's your lock. You can't bench him and McGrady. So it comes down to J-Rob or Ayuk. I usually go for the running back in that sure volume. It's close, though. It really is, especially in the full PPR setting. And Ayuk's been a monster in the past without Debo. I'm kind of turning my tune here. Madison, Ayuk. Nawagwa or Piran bench dash. Probably Piran, just because, even if something happened to Madison and Nwangu got the start, like Cook will be back at some point, it seems. So I would go Piran because if something happens, then he's the guy. Should I trade Devonza Smith for Mike Williams? No. Is Mike Williams going to be the guy that helps you win? I don't think so. Package Devonta for somebody else. Gibson rank rest of season, where I got him ROS. The rest of season big board at roasterjournal.com. I don't know off the top of my head, but I did give him a healthy bump with McKissick banged up and him seeing some receiving work. Off the top of my head, I think he's got to be a top 15 running back, right back into that like late round 2 range. That's where my gut's telling you. I don't know where I have him on the actual big board, but that's kind of where I feel. Thinking about benching Judy for you have for Van. I would do that. I'd rather have Van Jefferson in there. Is Mac the handcuff? I do think Mac would shoulder more of the rushing workload, but I do think it would be, JT's seeing about 70 to 80% of snaps these last few weeks. I think that becomes a clear, 55-45 gross, neither's all that valuable type of situation. And JT's never missed a game, so I'm, knock on wood, I don't expect that to happen. Must-win league. Taysom Hill this week. Got it, baby. Let's go. 28% chance. He had 7% in one. Yeah, it means nothing. I agree with you, Snyder. Ayuk or Diggs. Oh, you got to go Diggs. Got to go Diggs always. It's much closer with Chase. You got to go Diggs, fella. Could Daryl Williams be a no? He only got 30% of the touches last time. Johnny Loud, late to the show. I saw you earlier. Don't you lie to me. Asking your questions and dipping out and then come back telling me you're late to the show, Johnny Loud. I don't know if I want to answer for you lying to me like that. You come every week, so you know what? I'll give you this pass, but you don't need to lie to me, Johnny. I saw you earlier. I go Taysom over Jimmy G. I love the rushing upside, baby. Got to ride it out. All righty, Wolfpack. That's all we got for questions and the computer. It's getting damn close to dying. So I'm going to run here. Thank you guys so much for being here. As you always are, thanks for the super chats that you guys tossed me, Stephen Drakes and Ward Willis. Much appreciated. So thankful for you guys. Fine, Anna. Getting that last question in there. I'll sneak it in. Cooper, Van Jefferson, Patterson, or Renfro. You got to start 3. You got to go Patterson. You got to go Renfro. And I probably go Cooper over Van, but that is really, really close. Really, really close. Peace out, fella. Peace out, Wolfpack. In a world full of fancy sheep, guys, be that wolf. We'll see you tomorrow, 7 p.m., Thursday Night Football tailgate. Me and the truth, baby. Let's get it tomorrow night. Wolfpack, I'm out.